Welcome to Financial Caffeine, retirement clarity, tax smart strategy, and real structure without the BS. All right, we're live. Hey, before we jump in, I want to set the tone just real clearly. You're not here to be sold an annuity. You're here to understand what they actually do, what they don't do, and where people either get protected or get burned. Because most people only ever hear two kinds of stories, either the hype or the horror. And almost nobody hears the truth until it's too late to change anything. So today is about clarity about how annuities work right now, not 10 years ago, clarity around which types can be useful and which ones people should avoid, and most importantly, clarity around where your situation fits. Here's how today will work. I want to walk you through a simple decision framework we use with clients. First, are you trying to solve for growth or income? Second, are you exposed to sequence of returns risk during retirement? Are you exposed to losses? Third, what are the real truths about fees and taxes, and where do people get surprised? And fourth, when annuities are not a fit. And finally, a real case example that shows why reviews matter. And as you listen, I want you to keep one question in your head. Where does my situation fit into this based on my actual numbers? Now, I want to make sure that this is going to be pretty fast. This is going to be maybe 10 minutes. So I don't have anything fancy to pull up. It's just a quick conversation about those 5 things. So that question about where do you fit matters because opinions don't retire you, numbers do. So for context, we're independent. We are not captive to any one company. And when we analyze annuities, we compare options across highly rated carriers. They have to be A-rated. That's how we keep it honest and keep all the cards face up. Right? So let's start with the foundational decision because this is where most people get hurt. Annuities can do 2 things. They can help you grow money safely, or they can help you create guaranteed lifetime income. And yet some products try to blend both, but here's the problem. There are only 100 pennies in every dollar. So if you try to get the best of both worlds, you usually get the middle of both worlds. So the real question is simple. If you had to choose one, which matters more right now, growth or income? And what tells you that that's the right choice for you based on your actual numbers, not your assumptions? Because most people think they need income until we run the numbers, and in many cases, they don't. They have other assets. And a lot of people think maybe they want growth until they realize they're exposed on the distribution side, and income is a bigger play for them. So here's the trap. People don't get hurt by annuities. They get hurt by choosing the right tool for the wrong job. And if you're not totally sure which bucket you're in, that's good. That's exactly the point. That uncertainty is what our clarity session is for. Now, let's talk about one of the most misunderstood retirement risks. People say, my average return is pretty good, so I should be fine. But retirement doesn't fail because returns are bad overall. It fails because bad years show up early while you're pulling income. That's sequence of returns risk. So here's a little analogy I like to give. The analogy is of climbing a mountain. Getting to the top of the mountain is the accumulation phase. Coming down the mountain is distribution, the descent phase. And the goal isn't to get to the top and die The goal for those climbing Mount Everest isn't just to summit. The goal is to get back down to live to tell about it. So the goal is certainly to get to the top and then get all the way back down. And financially, it's no different. We want to retire and we want to descend and distribute our money over the rest of our life and live a full life. So let's make this personal. Imagine you retire and in the first 2 or 3 years, the market drops 20 to 30%. How long would your money really last? And how much of your income is insulated from that kind of risk? And if you're not sure how to answer that, what do you think that uncertainty could cost you later? Because this is the big difference between hoping your plan works and knowing what your plan does under pressure. This is where guaranteed income strategies can matter, not because markets are evil, but because sequence risk is real. And when you're drawing income, most certainly it's real. So I want to look at fees and taxes, the two things people often fear most about these or hear about them. You hear they're loaded with fees, you'll get crushed with taxes, they're all bad. Well, here's what's true. Some annuities have very clean pricing. Some are built like a fee stack. And taxes, well, taxes depend on what type of annuity, what account it's held in, and how and when income is turned on. So here's the question I want you thinking about. If someone guesses wrong here, where does it usually show up? Is it a surprise tax bill, using the wrong account type, turning income on at the wrong time, or realizing too late what the contract actually does? Because most people don't discover the consequences until years later, when the fix is expensive or impossible. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't actually know what fees I'm paying, or I'm not sure how mine would be taxed if I turn the income on, you're not alone. That's why we do reviews. Now, this is important. Annuities are not a fit for everyone. We never recommend putting all of your money into one. As a matter of fact, you can't. The companies won't even allow you to do so. And we're not here pretending this solves every problem. Excuse me. There's two major not a fit buckets that I want you to consider. Number one is liquidity risk. If you might need the money soon, well, we don't trap it, right? Annuities have surrender schedules for a reason. The second not a fit bucket is income is already solved. If Social Security plus a pension plus other guaranteed income already covers your needs, you may not need an income annuity. But even then, a growth-focused annuity might be relevant if you want safer growth on a portion of your assets. So the question is, which bucket are you closer to? I need liquidity, income is already solved, or I'm not sure. And if you're not sure, would it be fair to say that that uncertainty is exactly what keeps people stuck? Now, let me give you a real example why this matters. We recently reviewed an annuity where on paper it looked great. The income value looked huge. The numbers looked impressive. But when we actually analyzed the contract, we found something most people don't know. Some older contracts are what's called banded, meaning the payout factor might be the same across a range of ages. In this case, the client could have turned income on earlier and taken 2 years of additional income without reducing the payout later, meaning she was about to accidentally give up nearly 2 years of payments simply because she didn't know how the contract worked. That's why reviews matter. And here's the bigger point. Interest rate environments change. What was best 7-8 years ago might not be best today. So the value of a review isn't we'll replace it. The value is we show you how to maximize what you already own, and we show you what the market looks like today, then you decide. As I've referred, all cards face up, right? So let me land this. Annuities aren't good or bad. They're either appropriate or inappropriate based on goals, timeline, and constraints. And the real risk isn't annuities. The real risk is choosing the wrong type, choosing the wrong timing, and discovering all of that after you've retired and turned it on. So here's the real question. As you sit here right now, do you feel clear on where your plan is exposed, or are you still guessing? Because if you're guessing, the next step is simple. We offer a private clarity session. There's nothing to buy on the call. This is not a pitch meeting. It's us looking at your accounts, your timeline, your income need or lack of one, your protection gap, and whether an annuity even makes sense. Now, quick question for you. If we ran the numbers and it turned out you already, you are already protected, then, and you don't need the annuity, would you still want to know that? So if you want clarity, I put a link, matter of fact, there it is. Put a link in the chat here that takes you to a short survey, basic information, age, account types, so that we can prepare. And then it takes you straight to a calendar. And if you're not ready, it's totally fine. But if you want clarity now, this is how you get it. I appreciate you joining me today. Hopefully we get a chance to meet you.